The incident itself unravelled very quickly. I had a brief conversation with the father of the subject of the incident on the driveway, probably no more than 5 or 10 seconds, and then gone into the address, and the incident begins quite quickly from there. I can hear a gentleman shouting upstairs, "Where's the effect? Are they here yet?" From that, I presume and deduce that he meant the police. I've got to the dog leg in the stairs, at which point I've seen the subject of the incident. I've seen him. We've made eye contact. The barrel of this weapon's been pointed directly at my face, and he's started repeatedly firing the weapon at me. I can vividly remember a loud crack of the weapon discharge and feeling an intense, almost like sort of burning pins and needles type pain at the top of my forehead, which I presume was the first impact point. At that point, it sounds very cliche, but everything sort of slows down, and your senses start playing sort of tricks on you a little bit. And the best way I can explain it is the fight, or freeze reflexes that it's your body's natural defence mechanisms, and I genuinely don't think you get to choose which one your body's going to do. My body's decision and my immediate reaction was, I need to fight, I need to defend myself, I need to defend the other people that are in this property. But I don't think that was an active choice. I didn't make that choice. That's happened automatically, where I've immediately responded by discharging my taser at the male, which had zero effect. I know that I fired both cartridges within about 2 seconds. Again, it's a testament to the training that the officers received, that the muscle memory has realised that there's not been an immediate change in the male's behaviour, which there would be if the taser had been effective and there was effective neuromuscular incapacitation, which justifies your need for your second shot. Other officers were already deployed at the same time that I was initially sent to the instance. They were en route, they were travelling. I think it felt like a lifetime. It felt a lot longer than it actually was. Were they there to help me detain the male? No, that was done by myself. The gentleman was handcuffed prior to other officers' arrival, and I can remember passing updates to control. One in handcuffs, one detained. I'm injured and I'm bleeding. I don't know where from. It was only after the gentleman was safely detained I could realise exactly where was hurting. I knew the top of my head was hurting, my nose was hurting, and obviously bleeding. I've been hitting the ear. That was very tender. I could feel that. The bigger factor was I didn't know what I'd been shot with. I knew that it was a semi-automatic weapon of some description. At this point, I don't know that it's a weapon that's CO2 powered, firing 4mm steel ball bearings. It could have been a pellet gun. Could have been a 2.2 rimfire. I didn't know, and like you said, I've never been shot before. I don't know what it feels like. I didn't know the extent of the injuries. It was just relief that he was safely detained, and it sounds ridiculous when you're being shot at. The thing that caused me the most fear was the fact that as he's continued to advance towards me, I surmised that he's run out of ammunition, was that he was holding a knife. And I've realised I've discharged both cartridges of my taser here. My tactical options are somewhat limited. I didn't believe that I had any of the ball bearings lodged in my face. up until I'd had a CT scan, the A&E doctor, the consultant, is telling me you've got a ball bearing in the side of your head, you've got one in the top of your head, and I was complaining about discomfort, like almost like a blood clot or a blockage up my nose. I thought it was a nosebleed from where I'd probably been struck in sort of the front of my nose. And they've immediately thought you may have a projectile actually up your nose. It was only when I saw the actual CT images that where I can see these bright white balls showing up that I then accepted and believed that I had actually been shot, and this was potentially quite serious. We know every day we're potentially putting ourselves in harm's way, and that's the point of the police, to protect people and fight crime. And to do those things, we have to put ourselves in between those people that we're trying to protect and the people that we're trying to arrest or bring to justice. It's what you join the police to do. And yeah, it's an occupational hazard. Nobody joins the police to be assaulted, but we accept that it may happen. The CT scan showed the ball bearing was millimetres from the very thin piece of bone that separates my nose from my brain. This incident potentially could have been life-threatening. I just feel, it sounds extreme, very lucky not to be blind or potentially dead. I think the last thing I'd like to say about it is how thankful I am to the service that I received from the NHS, from the point of initial triage, assessment of injuries and treatment through A&E to the follow-up with the ear, nose and throat specialists a week later. I can't thank them enough for their professionalism and the way I was dealt with. I don't like doctors. I was a difficult customer. They knew how to treat me. They dealt with the situation with humour, which is, I think, a coping mechanism for many people, and it's certainly a way that I deal with this situation. If you can think of something funny to say about it, I'm more than happy to hear it. And my second thanks goes out to the senior management team for the immediate support that was provided to me and the comprehensive debrief that myself and my team received a week later, which answered a lot of the unanswered questions which historically in force may never have been answered. I think it's been very useful for myself in dealing with the incident, and also my colleagues and the officers that I manage.